That's
Okay,
fine.
so let's get things started. I hope you guys are well, first of all. It's currently 11 p.m. at night in Hong Kong, so it's a perfect time to go grab some wine and have some interesting conversations with interesting people. So go get yourself a drink if you haven't, that be tea or coffee or whatever you need. Sit back and enjoy the stream. This is going to be the very first of a new series that we've launched called Fireside Chat with Artists. It's different to regular interviews in the sense that we talk about anything and everything in the crypto art scene. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. We are very lucky today to have the legendary Dutchtide join us.
I wouldn't say legendary.
Okay, that's okay, firstly, absolutely bullish over your work. So that's legendary.
Yeah,
I came
thank you.
across you over Twitter, and I saw these amazing pieces on Asian architecture. And so, Dutchtide, welcome, and tell us a bit about yourself and your brand.
Wait, I want to see. Every time I click on your name, oh, there you
Yes.
go. Ah, now I can see the stream because I wanted to
Yeah.
see as well.
No
Um,
worries.
yeah, my name is Dutchtide, and I'm an artist from the Netherlands. Um, and I've actually been doing this type of art for the past 2 years, but I'm actually a full-time concept artist, like next to this. So all the stuff I make here is really just an expression of, it sounds so cliche, like an expression of feelings and thoughts. Because as a concept artist, you work in the movie and game industry, and in those, the kind of art you make there always has a purpose.
Yeah.
Like you never ever can just make something, it's more often than not, it's not really based on emotions or feelings or whatever. So when they say make a red boat, you just make 20 variations of a red boat. you know
Mhm.
you don't get to think of, like, I don't know, the story or the writing, all that stuff. It's very, very, well, the work I'm doing right now is super, like, factory like work. So Dutch
Mm.
Tide really gives me a way to release all that creative energy, you
Mhm.
know? Yeah.
And I remember even before the stream, Dutchtide and I actually almost had an hour of just talking. And so I feel like there's
Yeah.
so many topics to cover even now. But you also explained to me the whole idea on conceptual art in your terms. So for people who don't know, what is it?
So concept art is a term that you use in the movie/game industry, and it's used to lay down the conceptual foundation of a movie or game. So before anything even goes in production, like often before the script is finished, often before basically anything is done, you get a bunch of concept artists, and they're like Shadi Safadi is a famous concept artist. He always says it's like a SWAT team just jumping in, doing a shitload of work in 5 months, and then going out again. You know, so it's often
Mhm.
4 or 5 people, uh, female and guys, majority guys, but also a lot of women nowadays. And yeah, you make really cool stuff, like super cool things. But I don't know. I think I can share a little bit, but it's not really Dutch Tide related stuff.
No, please, please.
But
Because
I
I
think
know
it's
that,
fun.
yeah, because I know that your art is also based on the vaporwave genre or that scene as well. And I'm not actually too familiar with that as well. So I feel like it'll be cool to have, the viewers or the streamers see what that's about as well and how that influenced your work.
Oh yes, actually, that's where all my work gets influenced from. So
Mhm.
wait, let me go to the website real quick because it's easier to show
And it's
things.
a super cool website, by the way. I was so impressed when I clicked onto it.
It's all made in Wix.
So go
Shit.
use it, guys.
Yeah, I really, really want to update this place with like a proper web designer, because I don't know, this is super simple stuff, but it's very fun. It's like very easy to update, because each
Yeah.
season the theme kind of changes. Like the previous season was very pinkish, purplish work, and
Mhm.
now it's more of a a grayish vibe, a bit darker, I'd say. So
I mean, yeah.
Your question was, how did my work get influenced by Vaporwave, right?
Yes.
So, well, first you need to understand what Vaporwave is. So, because many people don't actually know, I feel. So, Vaporwave is a music genre that, in my opinion, focuses on the feeling of nostalgia. But nostalgia is often a very nice feeling, you can almost lose yourself in it. And Vaporwave does a thing where it sounds exactly like your childhood, but there's always a very dark undertone to it, right? So there's this album, it's called Good Morning America, and it's written by, I forgot his name. He's a fellow Dutch guy. He makes super cool stuff. But the album is called Good Morning America, and it starts with these commercials of 9/11 on the day of 9/11.
Wow.
And then every time before they cut to the news, the music starts playing, like this calm, jazzy kind of stuff. And then they throw in another commercial that happened that morning before 9/11 happened. So in Vaporwave, often that day is seen as the shift of the world, because definitely, like, for us a bit younger people, I don't know how old you are. Can I ask?
Yeah, no, never ask a woman their age. That.
Well, if you're in your 20s, we all
Yeah.
kind of grew up with the same things in the West. So we all grew up with Pokemon. We all grew up with Sony products. We grew up with like American cartoons. Definitely in Europe, like we had the Disney Channel and a bunch of other stuff. But that, like, our reality kind of changed when 9/11 happened, even here in Europe, because America suddenly wasn't this place anymore that was safe and this dreamy like area. And if you think of it, like, since 2003 the world has drastically changed, and nowadays we don't see America like that at all. So Vaporwave does that, like you indulge in this beautiful, serene feeling, but then there's this dark undertone, and I try to convey the same thing in my art.
But wait, so you're meaning to tell me that Vaporwave started with the Good Morning America album, but then it was about 9/11. But how do they play music in the middle of those? As in, they play music in the middle of those commercials, or what?
No, it's all edited. Yeah, I can let. I don't know if we should listen to it, but you should look it up. It's like Vaporwave is such a broad genre that you can't even say it's always music. Like, there's this one song, it goes, I think, for 22 hours, and it's just Japanese Weather Channel.
What?
Yeah.
Did you listen to that?
Well, I haven't. I can't say it's my taste, but the idea of that one is that you are transported to a time where you're a Japanese kid and you're just listening to the Weather Channel and you're playing with your toys. It's that kind of idea. Even though you might not have ever grown up in Japan, you might not be Japanese.
And it's like you just feel like you're there, and that's the idea of serenity,
Exactly.
I guess. And I remember seeing a piece of yours which I loved absolutely, and it was of this. And I remember we talked about this. It was of this 7-Eleven store, and I know that we connected immediately over our love for 7-Eleven. And guys, if you guys know what 7-Eleven is, it's this convenience store. It's really just a blessing to humankind.
It is.
It really is, isn't it? It's everything you want is in there. And I don't know, you guys, do you guys have a lot of those in the Netherlands?
Dude, we have none.
That should be illegal. That is not.
I know.
That should be illegal.
I've been craving 7-Eleven like for 4 years now, or 3. Like,
we all need to start a petition to the government.
I think it has to do, though, because here in the Netherlands we don't really have a 24/7 kind of culture. So
culture, isn't it?
It is like
Right.
definitely the more newer countries. So Australia, I wouldn't say Japan is new, but you can say they were reborn after Second World War. You
Yeah.
know,
Mm-hmm.
America relatively new,
Mm-hmm.
and then China and Taiwan and Japan. They all are kind of like they all started growing the past 200 years.
Yeah.
So I think as a result of that, I mean, I don't know these things for sure, of course, but I feel these places are a lot more fast paced,
It
you know?
really is.
Like, I feel even London and Paris are like that, but here in the Netherlands, we really don't have that. Like, things are kind of slow and
Yeah.
can be fast, but we finish at 5 o'clock.
Which
Really
is
do finish,
amazing.
and then like, nah, we don't go to the shop at the middle of the night.
Which is it's such an interesting concept to me because with the whole fast-paced culture and things like that, it's like the 9 to 5, but honestly, to be honest, in today's society it's not even 9 to 5, it's 9 to 12, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
to hear you say that it's seriously, and well, I don't even know if it starts at 9, but it if you guys end at 5 p.m., that's brilliant. And
Yeah.
actually, and then I can understand why there isn't that 24-hour you know,
Yeah, and
culture.
also I feel like we're still quite traditional in many ways here. Many people like to cook their own food. You
Yeah.
know, we yeah, like I can imagine doing it because I've done it when I lived in Melbourne. Like me, and my girlfriend, we would go we'd be
Mhm.
like 4 o'clock at night and we'd be like, oh, we feel like magnums. And we would go get one at 7-Eleven because it's down the
It's
road.
so good.
Yeah. It's the best it's a really unique feeling, I think, to have that
Yeah,
midnight trip
it
to the
is.
and
Everyone, if
exactly,
yeah,
but I also say it's like a beacon of capitalism in the middle of the night and all the darkness, you know?
that is I never even thought about it that way. I never even
But it is,
wow.
right?
It is. It definitely is.
It's like never stops. It always goes.
It's kind of capitalizing off people's like that culture,
Yeah,
that 24-hour culture. And
and
this is such a
and
capitalist society that it makes sense.
exactly. Exactly. Definitely in places like,
Yeah.
Tokyo or Hong Kong or Melbourne that are just huge cities that, like I don't know. Yeah, also, that I think is a big difference. We don't have those big cities here. Like
Really.
Amsterdam is big, but it doesn't even have 1 million people.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
And I mean, even looking at your art, like it's like, and I remember we also spoke about this. It's this combination between the Netherlands and Japan, and there was this whole history with the Japanese culture that I didn't even look into or even know about until you educated me on this, and it's so
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, and there's this whole mix of the slow-paced culture and the fast-paced together, and you kind of merge them together, which is
Yeah,
very interesting to see.
I love
For
I
people
love
who don't know,
to. Sorry, continue.
no,
Sorry.
no. For people who don't know, like I'd love for you to just tell people about this because I was shocked, really.
Well, let's start at the beginning. No, um, I uh, I started with these pieces. The Yeah, these gas stations. It actually started with this one. So this is gas station 01. And the way I make my art is like I listen to this vaporwave music that really resonates with me. And if you, like me, sometimes when I listen to this music, I just get these images in my head, right? Like I don't know if you've ever had that, but you listen to this epic song and you envision a whole story around it. But so I can't really help, but that just happens to me when I get really captured by a song. So I was listening to this song and I was just like, I'm just gonna make something, I'm just gonna do something. And then in the end, like after a couple days, this came out. And
Wow.
it's really like this is actually made as it has a lot of meaning. I don't want to spoil it, but it's a really special piece to me because I feel it captures everything Dutchtide is.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this is, you know, this really is to me the Netherlands mixed with Japan in a way. Because you
What
have
does it say in Japanese?
Sorry?
What does it say on top of the gas station in
Oh,
Japanese?
just gas station.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was this hidden meaning or something like that.
No, the
But-
other ones do have that, but this one doesn't.
Wow, that's super cool. I'd love to just decode what
I
all
don't
the
know
secret.
if there's any Japanese people in the chat, but they'll be like, "Oh, it's just gas pump or something," or like.
I mean, it's interesting because gas stations, even in Japan, and since you've lived there before, or you've been there before, you know that, you know, since Japan is like they have these long roads and things like that, and so in the middle you need a place, of course, to park your car, but there's so much there, as in there's shops. It's like a whole shopping center, basically. It's like a whole mall.
Dude, yeah, but often a 7-Eleven is connected as well.
Yeah, 7-Eleven is just connected in all ways, honestly.
So I'm looking to make a crossover soon between the gas
Yeah.
station and the 7-Eleven. But
I'm
a very practical way to connect these things, because that might be interesting, but a very practical way I make the connection or the bridge between the Japan and the Netherlands is, if you look at traditional Japanese art, it's very flat. You know, the wave of Kanagawa is that the famous wood print artwork. I think you have seen it for sure.
Yeah.
But it's all very flat, and that's because the Japanese, for some reason, they didn't use lighting a lot in their images, and if they did, it was very, very minimal. So when I was making this, I wanted it to be specifically all on one plane. So this artwork, the gas station, is perfectly centered in the mid frame, as you call it, or the mid plane. So if you have a foreground object, it would be in the front, right?
Yeah.
And a background object could be a mountain or something here. But this is all set in the middle, right? But it still carries perspective. It's not actually flat.
Yeah.
You know? And that's where, you know, a lot of the traditional painting techniques that we use nowadays were developed by old masters from Italy, like by Michelangelo and Da Vinci and stuff, but perfected by the Dutch masters like Vermeer and Van Gogh and Rembrandt, very famous guy.
Yeah.
And so I use those techniques, you know, like I'm sure if anybody is an artist here, they'll know the perspective, light, color, composition, you know. Those are the things I really applied here, which are not generally a thing in Japanese art. But I still try to keep that same flat. Yeah. Anyway.
Do they say why? Do they say why they or the Japanese use the flat concept? Because I love it. I mean, I'm literally using this as my computer screensaver. As I've been using it for a while.
You're using this one?
I am.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. That's really nice.
If you guys want to go get a print, go ahead to Dutchtide's website.
Yeah. Hey, and you can get free wallpapers if you subscribe to the newsletter. I send them to you. But if we look at this painting, for example, this is the one I was talking about. It's a very flat image, right?
Yeah.
Like can I open the image? Yeah. As you can see, there's depth. You know, they have a foreground, midground, and background, but it all feels like there's no atmospheric perspective, as you call it. So this has the exact same colors as this, right? And the boat has overlap, but it's not very clear how the perspective works and stuff. It's almost collage-like, you know? And I think it has to do with the way they did these things, because this is a wood print. So they carved into wood, I believe, and then they could print it.
That's insane.
That's why you have actually many of these. I think there's like 70 of them or more. Yeah, so yeah, that's really cool. And this is something you saw a lot in that time. So, but the Dutch masters, if we look at Rembrandt van Rijn, I don't know if you've ever seen his work, but
you have to take a look.
The complete opposite, right? Like,
wow,
very, you know,
yeah.
this one, you know, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've seen this before.
The same time period,
Wow.
you know?
Crazy.
And this is where what I told you about, but it's in this time that the Dutch was the only country in the world that was allowed to trade with Japan
Mm.
on the island of, I forgot the name again. Yeah. Anyway, there was one island they were allowed to go to.
Yeah.
So, and a
Wow.
fun fact: Rembrandt, the painter of this image, he's actually in here. Like this little guy. Wait, here you see a little dude.
Yeah.
That's
Is it?
Rembrandt.
No, but you can
Yeah.
only see his forehead.
Yeah, only his forehead, and so everybody here is busy with themselves, doing their own thing, kind of like stumbling to get ready.
Yeah.
And he's the only one that's looking at the Dutch flag, which is really funny. There's a whole theory around why he painted himself looking at the flag.
Wow.
But yeah, this is a masterpiece in composition, color, light, perspective, etc. And then we look at the wave of Kanagawa, and you can see the sheer contrast, right?
Mhm.
But there's connections there because they drew inspiration from each other. And with Van Gogh, not Starry Night, but what's that tree called again? The pink one, cherry.
Pink tree.
The cherry blossom painting.
Yeah.
This is inspired by Japan. This
Yeah.
painting, you know. So I just
Wow.
feel really connected to Japan because of my childhood and like I said, like we all grew up with Pokemon and the Sony Walkmans and
Mhm.
TVs, and then at the same time they were so far away and exotic. And now I try to just create that connection between the two countries in almost every piece that I make.
So we have quite a few questions from the people listening. One of them is regarding the apartments. What do you use to create and animate them?
I have it open, so watch carefully. It's Cinema 4D.
Surround sound, guys.
So this is it, actually. So I can tell you quickly about it. It's really easy. So Cinema 4D is basically my go-to program. It's a very good program for motion graphics and film. So most people that you see using this, they use it for motion graphics. But I use it for my concept work. It allows me to put things together really fast. But you can use any program, to make your own things. Like Blender is also excellent, and it's free, and it can basically do everything Cinema can. But all right, so this little window over here, this is Octane.
Oh, this is stunning. Right.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm really happy with how it turned out. But so, Octane is a physically based render engine. So for anyone that doesn't know, physically based means that it calculates the light accurately, physically, as it is in the real world. So I can give a small example of what that would look like. I can literally throw in daylight in here, so now it's night. And then, look, you can
This is insane.
So now it's like evening or morning, and this is what it looks like during the day. And then, So I basically let all the heavy lifting being done by Octane. So that renders it out for me. And then all I do is I basically put these objects together. So I put like so much stuff in here. Like there's actually like moss and grass.
Are there Easter eggs in there? As in some surprise, deep meaning thing that you have to look really deep into to see what is in there?
Not really. I mean, I put my logo in here, which I thought was fun. But the reason I made this one, it's based on an architecture form called eco-brutalism.
Ah.
Do you know what brutalism is?
Eco-brutalism.
Yeah, it's like, so brutalism is that really harsh, concrete architecture form.
Yeah.
Which is at the base, literally at the base of all these apartments. Like they're all a bit cold and
Wow.
yeah, they're all a bit cool. But eco-brutalism is the harsh concrete mixed with nature. And I think it looks really awesome. So
Yeah.
this one doesn't have a particular meaning in it. It just looks really cool.
Do you think you could create this piece or any piece for that matter in the future with your apartments that it could be in sync with the time of day and the the person who bought the NFT's choosing? And that's
Well,
possible.
yeah, that's
Super cool.
definitely possible. Um, not with my art right now, not in the current state, unfortunately. I really
In the
wish.
in the future.
Yeah, in the
Very
future.
nice.
Yeah,
So, okay, we have a question. I just started using Adobe Dimensions. It seems limited, but so powerful. Do you use it at all?
no. Shit.
Why?
Well, so I didn't. I learned that Adobe has its own 3D program like last year or half a year ago.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be bothered to even look into it, to be really honest.
Yeah.
I think that I have a lot of beef with Photoshop, right, and Adobe in general, because I think they're
Yeah.
way too expensive for what they deliver. Like you pay $11 a month for Photoshop, and anything else you want that also costs a shitload of money. So, and the software is not really made for what I do with it, because I sometimes have files that are like that have 700 layers and multiple effects, and it just crashes, and it's not really ready for real production like that. Anyway, Adobe is cool, but I wouldn't use it for 3D personally,
And your apartments, we also had this conversation about, and I don't know if what is your end goal with all these apartments? Because I remember we discussed the metaverse and we discussed, how, even with like Decentraland and every like Vox architects, like everything, how do you plan to implement these architects into, or do you plan to? Because I think it would be super cool. I would love to even live in these one of the apartments. I mean, just look at these. I would sleep in that, even though it's just
you would put
that.
a little bed in there and sleep in
Exactly.
this humid area.
This is my living room. But I love it. What are your plans? I am so curious.
Well, I was talking with a friend. I think he's in the chat right now.
Wow.
That age. I think Kota. Yeah.
Okay.
We were talking about my apartments because I started out with these ones, right? These apartments over here. They are, this is what my art usually looks like. Not very animated, but and he was like, I would love to buy an apartment there.
Yeah.
Right? He was like, oh, I would love to have one of those. And then I was like, wow, that's a really good idea. And then I was like, yeah, I should make one. And then he was like, yeah, man, you should. And so next day, I was super inspired and I made one. I'll quickly see. I have it here.
Yes.
The first one didn't look anything as cool, but this is how it started.
This is how it's pretty good start, if you ask me.
Yeah, so this is all kit-bashed bullshit. Just threw together some textures on top there. I was like, I want some sort of name in there, but I immediately had the idea of like, you should treat these things like little snow globes.
Oh yeah.
Like a miniature version almost, Because it's not really natural to have a glass cube around your house.
I agree. But
it feels nice, right?
It feels really nice. And I love that little, what is that? Is that the Ethereum logo in the corner as well?
Yeah, I put that on almost all the electric appliances.
That is amazing. Look at that detail, guys. I mean, you can't, guys, I love it. And what does that mean in Japanese?
These things?
Yes.
Oh god, that's actually small little Easter eggs, but I can't read Japanese, so it might be really poorly translated by Google. I don't know.
Any Japanese people in the chat, please help translate.
it will be really fun to.
Please help all of us translate.
Yeah, so these apartments, they are planned to become part of like a game.
Yeah.
You know, I would love to have these in a real-time environment
Mm-hmm.
where you can like move around and turn things on and off. And it was actually in development, but my partner, who is a programmer,
Mm-hmm.
he had a lot of personal issues like last month.
Yeah.
So the whole project is on hold.
Mm.
But
Soon.
well, not really on hold because I'm still developing the concepts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's also something I want to say. This is all part of the concept series. So they're here to show a concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
The concept of little apartments. And the idea is that the money I make with this, I kind of want to put back into the project.
Yeah.
So that at some point, like, we can have an actual prototype. But we would love it to be a bit like Animal Crossing.
Oh yes, please. I would just real life would become my second life if we had these apartments.
Yeah.
Seriously. And I mean,
Well,
just look at the projection.
it would
That's
be
a projection
super
of one of
fun.
your pieces.
Yeah, all of them have something related to Dutchtide.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah, these are projections, and they're different in each one as well.
look at that.
Yeah, I love this one. The red one is really
This
nice.
one is stunning.
But
And I also, yeah.
can I tell you about the concept?
Yes, please.
So we were thinking, like, how cool would it be if you can buy one of these apartments just as they are, and then it's kind of like a Pokemon card pack. So you would buy an apartment, and then it's in mint condition. So it's like straight out of me, basically. And then you could either choose to keep it closed or open it up. So when you open it up, you can actually edit the apartment. So you can change the light color, you can maybe change where the bed is standing, and you can even change the artwork on the wall. Like, we were thinking, like, it would be super cool if you can upload your own NFTs in there and put them on display. You know?
Yeah.
But so the potential of these things is so big that it's really hard to keep focus, right? But you can go so many directions with this, you know? And then we were thinking, like, it would be really cool if you can take out the furniture, and if you have another apartment, for example, let's say you have one of the rustic series, this one, for example, and you can put this chair then into that futurist apartment. We were like, that would be so much fun, you know?
Yeah.
To mix and match things, and then possibly sell those on the market as well. So for example, you can buy an apartment and it comes with a chair, and the chair is actually an NFT that you can sell again on the secondary market.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you think that with all these combined, you could build an entire apartment? So, for example, if a collector collects, let's say, 20 of these small apartments, do you think they can build like a skyscraper with it one day? Would that be
that's what we were also thinking. Like, they could be like building blocks, right?
Yeah.
Like they snap together or something.
Yeah. Like Legos.
Exactly.
I mean, it's also very, I mean, looking at this, it's beautiful at the same time, but also, I mean, relating back to the whole theme of Vaporwave, it's like there's this sadness behind it because it's so small, and it kind of contributes to that problem of, overpopulation, and also, we'll say price being so expensive and people being so, what's the word called when you're really scared of small spaces?
Claustrophobic.
Yeah. It gives you that sense, but it's so beautiful at the same time.
It's exactly what I wanted to convey with my original designs, right? Like this one. These pieces are, let's see, these are a critique on our current society, because all over the world, the cities are becoming more and more expensive, right? And it's kind of ironic, but these are the only things we can start building now to live. There's not really space for a normal house. And a normal house, besides that, a normal house is just way too expensive. Right? The
Exactly.
normal houses here in the Netherlands as well. Like we're the most densely populated country in Europe,
Mm-hmm.
and I always like a garden here is extremely small. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like they're
Right.
often like it's seen as a luxury to have a garden. It's seen as a wealthy kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the only place they can get rid of people like me, like all these young people that don't have money for an actual house, is in these apartments. And the ironic thing is, we actually can't afford them because they're too expensive, you know?
Right.
So we pay for rooms that are, and I'm sure you must recognize that anybody that lives in LA or in
Mm-hmm.
Hong Kong or in Tokyo, you pay a shitload of money for your room, which is
Yeah.
weird, kind of
I
weird,
know.
right?
Oh my god.
So, so all these apartments or these pieces, they're just kind of like a critique on that,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
And I, yeah, and I even just now the piece that you showed with that building. Um, I remember we were chatting, and you said that the piece was inspired by like the overpopulation issue in Hong Kong. And which is funny, when I saw that piece, the first thing that I thought was that looks exactly like the apartment across from me.
Yeah, you said that. I
Yeah,
remember.
100% the same. And especially that, that little detailing with the red window on it. That was, it's, in Hong Kong culture, Chinese culture, people usually have these temples in their house where they pray. And so the light is always the light is red basically. And when I saw that, I was like, how did you like pinpoint that so accurately? I don't know if you meant to do it, but if you didn't, I don't know how, but you
Well, I
nailed it.
certainly didn't know. I certainly didn't know you had like temples and shit in your
Yeah.
house or shrines.
Yeah,
But I do
shrines.
know that there's always that lonely soul that's awake at night, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you know that feeling where you're like,
I know
you
that
look
feeling.
outside and you see that one light on, and you're like, who is that person? And why is that person awake right now when everybody else is asleep? Or maybe you're that person, you know?
I was about to say that. Maybe it is. Maybe that I'm that person right now, actually.
Yeah, there you go. Though I doubt it's as serene as
Yeah.
there right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's exactly what these apartments are all about. You know, it's kind of ironic that you all buy these. You know, we can buy these little virtual apartments, but we can't buy the actual ones.
Exactly. I mean, one day, right?
That's my dream as well. One day I
Yeah.
can actually possibly move out of my home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And move into one of these apartments,
that'd be cool.
right? I know.
Here's
Um, yeah.
here's a little sneak peek of one that nobody
Oh
has
my
seen yet.
God, and I thought I love this already. And look at the painting in the back. It's so intricate.
Yeah, I was like, every building has a laundromat, right? So
Wow, you're right. And look at these. People are just saying in the chat, like, these are insane details.
yeah, and I don't even go that full out because I make them in like one day or less, like in a couple
Yeah.
hours. So
Will they
because I
have
do this,
sound?
sorry,
Will they have sound to them?
dude. Yes, I'm actually this month and next month I'm working on a theme song for Dutchtide that will have like this jazzy vibe to it because I
Wow.
feel like jazz really fits this kind of art. So they will come with their own theme song, and hopefully it will be really good.
I know it's going to be really good, and I can't wait.
Yeah, it will be
And
super cool.
also, I just want to congratulate you, first of all, because you're actually one of the top sellers on Rarible now. And your most recent piece, Poolside Facade, sold out in 2 minutes and is
Yeah,
currently being resold for 1 ETH minimum. And so the minimum bar has already been set. So again, congratulations on that.
yeah, the
Um,
resale value of these things is kind of crazy to me.
right? Look at that pool. I mean, it's like we were talking about it, the neon lights and everything. It doesn't even look like water. It kind of looks like this milky
Yeah,
substance that,
that's what I wanted it to be, actually.
which is quite a contrast, to like the other apartments that you made, because it's more how do I say, this is more luxury. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So
With,
that's also the thing, right? Like with
yeah,
Tide Estates, you have like the slogan of Tide Estates is like Tide Estates. true luxury, just for you, you know?
Yeah.
But even this is luxury, but why the fuck do they have a plastic chair then? That we all know and love?
Yes,
The classic
I love
plastic
that.
chair. And
You have to have.
if you lean too hard on it, the leg breaks, you know?
Yes. Yes, I remember those. Yes.
So this is actually the entirety of. I was talking to Heresy about that, and the entirety of Tide Estates and Dutchtide it's a facade.
Hmm.
So at first glance, it always feels like a certain thing, like a luxury place. But the moment you start looking deeper into things, it's actually just a facade. It's all fake. It's not that luxurious, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I wouldn't swim in such a tiny pool, to be
Yeah.
really honest, you know.
Yeah.
And also, I think. Do you know Edward Hopper, the painter?
No. Please show
Well,
us.
Edward Hopper was one of the most famous American painters in the 19th century, in
Right.
World War One and Two,
Mm-hmm.
and he made the image Nighthawks. And I know you know Nighthawks because it's
Mm-hmm.
fucking gorgeous. But Nighthawks by Edward Hopper, this one,
This
and
is stunning.
this is maybe my biggest inspiration in terms of art, like because it's doing the same thing. There's no
Yeah.
door to this cafe except the one in the back, and
Mm.
so this location was made like we're looking inwards as some people that pass by, right? But we
Mm-hmm.
can't actually go in, and it's the last
Right.
remaining light in this dark village city. And these apartments are the same thing. Like they are places we can imagine ourselves being, but we can't actually go there, right? We're an outsider looking inward. And
So you'll
so,
never get people in there, or is that?
no, you'll never be able to go in there. Even when we release that game platform, we want to be able to for people to be like to share the apartments,
Yeah.
but you won't actually see people. And there's never ever humanoid characters in these things because to me, that breaks the whole immersion of being alone. If this had a
Mm.
person in it, if this had a cat in it or dog or anything more than a plant, you can relate to it.
Yeah.
But now you can't, but you can. And that feeling, that's where that nostalgic feeling slash like a bit of darkness comes in. It's like it's empty, it's desolate, you're alone, you know? So
Looking at your pieces, it's like you select objects that people don't really notice that much, but it's so, again, the idea of serenity, it's so serene to them. You're familiar with it, but it's like you don't really pay attention to it in your daily lives, but then when you see it, you know it, and you have this sense of familiarity, you know?
we've all seen certain objects like this, and it also has to do with the texture that I
Yeah,
use.
the
But
texture is amazing.
this is, by the way, the coolest chair in existence, the Eames James chair.
Oh,
I
yes.
love it.
Is this a psychology office? Is this a shrink office? This could be.
No, I was personally thinking like I would love to have that chair and listen to records.
Yeah.
Like
No, it would
I'm a
be.
hipster, but no,
For
it's
people.
yeah.
So okay, let me just read out some questions. Wow, George Boya just bought one from Wearable. And he said you're
Really,
amazing. Yes.
thank you, George. You
Yes.
legend.
You legend. Yes.
Yeah, you bloody legend, man.
So some questions. Okay, what was the main reason that you came into the art field?
Into the art field?
Yes, into the crypto art field or the crypto art
Oh
scene.
yeah. Okay. Are we ready for a little bit of a morbid story?
Yes, please. Yes, I'm all ears.
All right. So, I didn't know about this shit till September. I was part of that wave, but yeah, my grandpa died, and then
Oh no.
and he lives in France, and so, man, it was a huge struggle to get there with COVID and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But so for some reason, funerals bring families together. So I got in touch with my cousin. He also lives. We live in the same village, but we often don't see each other for like years. It's really weird. But yeah, he's really big on crypto, and he was like, I keep seeing this blue Kirby guy, and he drops these art things like NFTs or crypto art. I really think you should look into it, man. And then we got talking, and I looked into it, and so days after I was back from the funeral, I wanted to get into this space, so I joined Rarible. I applied for almost every single platform. I was just like, I'm just gonna sell some of the pieces that I made that I can't really use for my brand, because I normally sell prints, right? Like on Dutchtide, these are prints.
Yeah.
So that was my main income through these things. And but I make really elaborate animations for them most of the time. So for example, this one is part of an advertisement I made for Dutchtide, right? And that counts for this one too. Oh, anyway, the frame of this wave is animated frame by frame. It's kind of crazy. Oh, this is the pitch. I'm not gonna show that to you guys.
Keep that.
But so my cousin introduced me, and for me it was a super natural transition, honestly, because Vaporwave ties in so perfectly with that like dystopian future, and the art I make fits in so perfectly that I really didn't have to do much more than just start making things. Right? And it was so much fun. I had this one, and also what I think the coolest thing about crypto art is that it's animated, or that you can animate it. And in my world, there isn't really a space for those things. So for many of these, I could just animate the pieces I made, right? Which is so much fun. I just, you give life to, where's crypto?
So every time you make a piece, you listen to Vaporwave music, or is it just a different music every time? And then you just look at a blank screen and you just go, yes, and then you just start. Is that how? Because that's just how I imagine.
Well, I'm gonna link some music that's really fucking.
I'm gonna
Brush Symphony. This one is, specifically. Wait, I'm gonna see if I can share it, and we're gonna all enjoy. Let's see if I can let us all indulge in this experience for a second. So I want everybody that's in the chat to just close their eyes for like a minute with me, and we're gonna just listen to this, okay? Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So we're back.
Wow. So some people says it reminds them of an RPG.
Well, it is, because it's from Donkey Kong Country 2, which is not an RPG.
Wow.
But how beautiful is that, right?
I nearly teared up. Yeah.
That's cool. But yeah, Sticker Brush Symphony is one of those songs I listen to, and it makes me just feel things.
Yeah.
And then I make art based on that stuff. But yeah, there's one that's called Checkpoint. So if you come to this if you come to this place, people write entire stories of their life in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. Like thousands of comments of people just writing their checkpoint of their life.
Wow.
And that's because this is a universal experience. What you just all, for the people that felt it, it's a universal experience that we have with this sound. And Windows 96, my favorite artist ever, he made an entire album based on that feeling. You know?
You need to listen to that. I'm going to write that down. Windows 96.
It's sick. It's based on all these games of our childhood. And he just makes such cool things out of it. You know, like such cool music. And that shit just really, really inspires me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I just love listening to good music, getting touched by it, and then making something really fucking cool. You know, like, and it's weird, but it's often something that we all recognize. You know, we all know what it's like to be a kid and to dream back to that time where everything was good and nice.
Yeah.
And we all have this a little bit of a negative, dark idea of the future, right? Like climate change is coming. You have an idiot like Trump in the White House. You know, you have shit's going down on multiple fronts in the world, and we're all just like trying to find an escape where we can enjoy.
So we can escape the Tide Estates.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There we go.
Which is right. I mean, okay. So what is your next steps as an artist or crypto artist now? Where is your next step with Dutchtide or Dutchtide, the brand in general?
The next step. Well, I'm working on season 3 of Dutchtide.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the season 3 called 7-Eleven at Sea, which is gonna be great.
7-Eleven at sea.
Yeah.
Like a floating 7-Eleven.
Well, it's actually like 7-Elevens at an imaginary coastline. But those are actual acrylic paintings that I'm making. So they take a bit longer. Wait, I can show one.
You paint them by hand, or? Yeah,
I paint them by hand.
I feel like by the end of this, everyone is just going to become your biggest fan. I'm ready. Just yeah, I'm all for it.
Oh, that means a lot to me. That's really nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to show you so here you can see what this is like an actual painting. And I know it doesn't looks like shit, but the idea is that I will edit it into something like this.
Right.
You know? But yeah, 7-Eleven at sea. And then hopefully, I was thinking like it'd be super cool if I make these locations in 3D as well. Like little turntables and yeah. But so, like I said, I do this next to my work.
That looks stunning.
It looks pretty cool, right? I'm quite happy with these.
Oh my gosh.
And it's quite different to actually paint for once.
How many pieces do you think, and what made you want to do that transition into, I mean, okay, going into flats, right, and prints, and then going into 3D modeling and doing apartments. Now you're going back into hand making, you know, acrylics, art, and things like that. Where, I mean, is it that every season there's just going to be a different medium?
Well, not necessarily. I specifically chose this because one of my favorite artists, Hiroshi Nagai, one of the biggest vaporwave artists out there, is like a guy in his 60s, 70s. Mm-hmm. He makes these gorgeous paintings. They're like acrylic paintings, but they don't look like it. And this is actually an homage to him. Like, wow. I honor him by doing this. And the goal is that at one point I send him 3 prints. Wow. And I don't know what he's gonna do with it, but it's just as a thank you because he has influenced my art and my life in a really beautiful way. Yeah. So that's why I do it in acrylic. But obviously I'm gonna paint over it so it like becomes production ready, you know. Wow. And becomes super clean.
Yeah. And I also want to show the audience there was a piece of the 7-Eleven again, but it's like this, it's an animation. And it's also with these cool tones, and it's on I don't know which I think you know which I'm talking about. It's called the convenience store or something like that, but It's a
Is it
beautiful piece.
is it a movie?
It's an animation.
Right. And so from Japan or from which
Yes.
country do you know? Okay, then well, there's so many though. But I bet there's at least one that has a 7-Eleven like thing in there.
No, I think you did one. I remember.
Did I? Oh,
Yeah.
wait. This one.
Yes, it's exactly. Look at that. It's the rain falling, and it's just hitting the ground and the reflections and.
Wait, I'll put it on loop so we
Yes.
can indulge. Here we go.
Look
Yeah.
at that. I mean.
Yeah, this one was so much fun to make because I had to like animate the little raindrops by hand.
Yeah.
So I made frame by frame animation and then. But this is all made in After Effects and Photoshop, by the way. So no 3D. So this is just pure painting in Photoshop. Like you can see where the line goes.
Yeah.
And then like the perspective lines are very clear. But yeah, all made in Photoshop and animated in After Effects. It's actually really simple to do.
Yeah, it's really funny because some people are asking for airdrops, but they're being airdropped culture and knowledge at the moment.
Yeah, I wish I could give you an airdrop, guys. I haven't figured out how to do it yet.
No, you're airdropping knowledge and culture. It's much more than that.
Yeah.
But okay, someone asked, what is the duration of making an apartment or any of these animations?
So these kind of pieces, like the one you see right now, they take a lot longer than the apartments. So an
Really?
apartment can be anything between 2 hours to 5.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on how much I optimize it. So obviously this one was the first one, and this is the one I've really made out of it, right? Big difference.
Yeah.
But so we spoke about it a little bit before, Annissa, but so I don't actually model most of this stuff. I download it online.
Yeah.
I find 3D websites, software where you can just download these things. All under the Creative Commons license, by the way. So it's not like plagiarizing stuff.
Yeah.
And then the stuff that I do is like I put the textures in that I also have downloaded, by the way. Like shit.
Yeah, we had this conversation earlier, and it was just about an hour ago. But we had this whole debate through, and I was listening to like people's podcasts, and it was like some people had some arguments on model downloading, and before some people would say, "Is that cheating?" Yeah, and look at that, guys.
What is this?
My department.
Is this a sneak peek at something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No one knows, is it? We're keeping them on their toes. Yeah, it was this whole idea of modeling and is it cheating? And we talked about it's not, because with the whole idea of conceptual art, you're basically directing the piece. It's the feeling. It's that story. It's that storyline that you're trying to.
It's the end result that matters,
Yeah.
I think. And the way you get there is not that important.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like if you can just, what I think, the thing I put. Shit, that's the wrong one. I try to keep opening fun ones, but.
And
anyway.
I don't think just anyone can. I mean, everyone creates a different feeling with their art pieces, right? I mean, even with your creation, exactly, it's experience that matters. And, even just viewing the art piece, that NFT, the whole thing is that experience. You're purchasing an experience, basically.
And that's something to come back to a couple questions ago, like what's for the future, that's the thing I try to keep creating and double down on is the experience.
Yeah.
So art and stuff is cool. And as if we look into the space, there's plenty of people who do that. But the true value isn't in the art, it's in the experience that you offer to the person who buys it. That's why I think music is really, really important.
Right.
Because as we all just experienced with that song, it makes you feel things, and you can just have your eyes closed and feel it. So it's like 50%, and then if we can make a game out of this, that's even more fun, you can really give people value for their buck. And that's in the end the core of all these pieces, is that it's more than just a pretty image. It's an experience
Mhm.
that I go for. So.
And so basically, if people buy these pieces now, so if people purchase apartments now, will they be promised, for example, in the future when there is this metaverse that you're creating, or this game this game that you're creating, will those pieces, the people who were there in the beginning also buying these pieces, will those apartments also be in those games?
Yeah, that's the goal. But the thing is, I don't know the technical limitations, so
Mhm.
I can't make a promise. But that was in the end the goal, to have these people that support the concept series to have their own little apartment in a 3D real-time space. I can't
Right.
promise it will be an actual game, because as a game developer, designer, I know exactly how things go, and they don't always turn out the way you want them to, unfortunately.
Mhm.
But yeah, if I can manage to make these things come true, that's like the first thing I want to do, is like give everybody that supported me their own little place in 3D real time, you know?
Yeah.
That'd be so fucking cool. That'd be so cool for me too, right? Because I want
No.
people to have that. That's the initial experience I aimed for. But I'm just really, I just can't, I'm not a programmer, you know? So I can't do these things myself, unfortunately. I have to wait for other people to do it for me.
Well, we have amazing people in the community, so I'm sure some people, if you're interested and if you feel like you can help and onboard the project, please message Dutchtide. Please give him a ping.
Yeah, Dutchtide@gmail.com. You can
Yes,
email me.
message him. We'll drop his email down in the
Yeah.
stream text. But yeah, okay. So this stream, this was an amazing talk, but unfortunately, all things had to come to an end. No.
Unfortunately.
But I do want to ask you one last question. What is your favorite NFT if you had to pick one, and why?
Oh, easy. Dead Age, Dead Age on Twitter. He has a piece called I forgot, Poolside, I think. Or
Please show us. We have to see.
yeah, it's like the best fucking piece in existence. It just completely spoke to me. Go to Twitter real quick. Dead Age. Yeah, I bought it. It's mine. I'm super proud of it.
I feel like I saw this on your Twitter sometime that you brought up. I'm not sure if it's that one.
Here we go. This is the one. Poolside. There.
That.
That's just like this guy, man.
Wow.
Like, yeah. Shout out to Dead Age.
Shout out to Dead Age.
He's here. This is him. There he is.
Oh my gosh.
But so this is like my favorite NFT of all time.
Amazing. I love this.
Right? But it captures the same feelings as that I'm going for. That's why I think it resonated so much.
No, I can definitely see it for sure. I'm just picturing your pool and this pool at the moment, and just I'm just trying to combine the two. My brain is trying to simultaneously.
We're probably doing a collab soon. So
yes, please. Oh my god. I cannot wait. Okay.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this talk as well, and I'm really, really humbled by the fact that people actually want to talk to me, or listen. Yeah.
It's okay. We can all be in your apartments and we can all be alone together.
Yeah. Exactly. That's beautiful.
That's the whole point. Yeah, it's beautiful. Again, it's an absolute pleasure to have you. I mean, I feel like we've all learned so much from this stream. I've learned so much personally. And I'm so excited to see what the future brings with your art, and to see how it's just going to evolve. And I'm for sure going to be there to support you. And I'm sure a lot of the members listening now are completely in love with your work by now. And if you're not in love, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know.
No, you don't have to be. I hope that I make something that you'll like. But if not, that's also okay, you know.
No, we love your work. But again, thank you. Thank you for being here. And
no, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you everyone as well for tuning into this live stream. And we're going to be having one artist Fireside Fireside chat every week as well. So stay tuned. Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.